Hello, vinyl community and everyone else watching this, especially Paul over at Psycho's Platters. Congratulations, Paul has almost 600 subs now, but he is doing a 500 sub contest. And I wanted to get in at the last minute. I hope I make it. If I don't, it's fine. But I wanted to do a video. Check out Paul's channel, by the way, Psycho Platters. Interesting. Shows a lot of CDs. Shows vinyl as well. Just a cool guy. Check him out. And again, congratulations on 500 subs. And Paul has asked us for his contest to answer 3 questions in video form. And if you answer all 3, you'll get a 4th entry. So you'll get 4 entries into his contest. So I'm going to attempt to answer all 3, and if one of my answers doesn't count for some reason, and it might not, that's okay. So first off, Paul wanted us to show 1 or more of our favorite bootlegs. And to be honest, my 2 favorite bootlegs I no longer have. I sold them a long time ago. One I sold to a friend who bugged me for months. Finally, I sold it to him, and that was the Beatles' Black Album 3-record set. And I doubled my price I paid for it, but gosh, now it's worth a couple $100 at least. So, kind of sorry I sold that one. And as well as Pink Floyd's The Film, which I also sold at some point in my life. And I absolutely, it was just the soundtrack to the movie. That's all it was. I mean, I could probably get the movie and make it. But it wasn't, because it was and it wasn't. It had the dialogue and things removed. It was an alternate version of The Wall is what it turned out to be. And whoever did it did a fantastic job. And the quality was just amazing. And at the time, the quality of the tracks on the Black Album was also the best any of us had ever heard of. Anyway, so bar that, I'm going to show you my 3rd favorite bootleg, and this is not my original copy. I sold that a long time ago as well. In fact, to the same guy I sold the Black Album to, and this one I did manage to get back. Speaking of get back, it's the Beatles. It's called Abbey Road Number 3, and this is a really, it's good quality. It's not amazing quality. The sound quality is definitely good. And for its time in the early 80s, or very late 70s, it was really good. Side 1 of this is all Abbey Road outtakes. And side 2 is Paul's jam session with Donovan that happened, I believe, sometime during the White Album sessions. There's the back cover. Cover photo by Linda McCartney on this bootleg. Got a very cool cover. I don't remember the label. It might just be white. Again, this is not my original copy. It's just blue. Nothing special there. It's just blue record. And I got another one in its place which had some of the same stuff on it. It didn't have any of the Donovan on it. And this is actually in better shape than my original copy was. And this has a couple, well, one McCartney original anyway called Heather, which is really good. It also has some good Donovan tracks on it. It has an outtake of Blackbird as well. And a song called How Do You Do opens up side 2. There's your track listings, by the way. Really, really good Beatle boot. Highly recommend it. And I'd also thought I'd show my 2 favorite bootlegs on CDs, since Paul does CDs as well. One is the Beatles' Backtrack album. This is just, at the time this came out, this sounded better than the Beatles CDs, the official ones. Sound quality on this is just amazing. There's your track listing, which isn't wholly accurate, but nonetheless has liner notes. They're tiny, but has liner notes in this glossy cover. Cool disc. Just, they did an outstanding job on this. So this was as good as you could get at the time, and still it's hard to beat. And this Rock Pile, I can't remember what it's called, Provoked Beyond Endurance. This was taken from a radio show around 1980. And really really great sound quality and just a great performance of one of my favorite bands. Nick Lowe, Dave Edmunds, Billy Bremner, and Terry Williams on drums. And cool CD design. And picture of the band there. And there are some bonus tracks taken from a radio program. They're all acoustic from like around the acoustic EP that they did with the Rockpile album. All that kind of stuff on here. Great, great. If you like power pop and you're a fan of just rock and roll and Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe, this is a fantastic bootleg. Okay, so that's my first part. Second part is show an autographed album or CD or something and tell the story behind it, how you met the band, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is the one where I'm not so sure. I'm not an autograph hound. I like to leave people alone. It's not that I don't like to meet them. I do, and I have. And I'll tell you a couple stories about that. But I don't have them sign things. As soon as you sign something, you're a fan. But as soon as you talk to them about something else, or music, or bands they might like, or whatever, you're just a person having a conversation with them. So instead of standing in a line and talking to them for 30 seconds, I get invited out for drinks. Or I stand in line with them the entire time they're signing everybody else's autograph and talking to them. So I take that route. I think that's the better route. So I saw the Bangles in about '85, and they played at a club in Buffalo. And after the show, the three of them went to the dressing room, and Susanna Hoffs stood outside the dressing room, and a line formed, and she was signing autographs. And I didn't really want to get an autograph, so I didn't get an autograph. What I did was I stood next to her and I talked to her the entire time that people were getting autographs. Now you might say, well, you didn't get an autograph. No, but I have a memory of spending nearly an hour talking to Susanna Hoffs, just having a nice, pleasant conversation, which was well worth not getting the autograph. And after a replacement show, Paul Westerberg came up to the bar and started talking to me and this young lady that I was with, and invited us out for drinks after our nice long conversation. So I went and spent a night drinking with Paul Westerberg, and actually he left with the young lady that I was with, which is a great story. It didn't turn out that well for me, but it's a great story. And so I clearly didn't get his autograph, but I got my bar tab paid, and I had a great night hanging out with Paul Westerberg. Tommy Stinson was just probably coked out of his mind or something. I don't know, walking up and down the bar the entire time. He couldn't sit still. I don't remember where the other two went, but those aren't autographs. And I'll tell you a quick third story. I made a hat, a Badfinger hat once. I went to see Badfinger, and I wore the hat, and somebody that I was with ripped it off my head and threw it on stage. And Tommy Evans of Badfinger, who was Badfinger at that point in time, put the hat on and did the rest of the show in my hat. Well, I kind of wanted my hat back. So I went and asked for it after the show, and oh, we thought you were giving it to us. And him and Bob, who was the other guy who played on the second to last album, maybe the last album too, can't remember Bob's last name, they both signed it. But I cannot find that hat. I have it somewhere. So I do have an autograph. That's the only autograph I can remember ever getting in person by a band, is Badfinger. And Tommy, less than a month later, killed himself. So I have it. I have not lost it. It's in a box somewhere. But you wanted to see autographs, so I set away for this one. This is the Posies, Failure, and both Ken Stringfellow and John Auer have both signed this album. So there's an autograph, but I didn't get it personally. And I was at my local record store one day, and I'm like, oh, I don't have this album, and it was priced really cheaply. And it's Graham Parker's Imaginary Television. And I got it home, and I'm like, oh, somebody scribbled on the cover. I didn't see that. but that scribble is an autograph. And I have many, many autographed albums. I just didn't get them. But there's my autograph stories, the best I got. And lastly, the question was the one that got away. Tell us about an album that you saw and you didn't buy and it got away from you. And my story is I worked at 2 record stores back in the mid to late 80s in Buffalo. One more than the other. The other I just worked at once in a while, and neither guy liked that I worked at both stores, you know, competition, same customers and all of that kind of stuff, but I did. And the second store was going out of business, and this guy was like his name was John, and he was pretty much my best friend at the time, and I was pretty much his best friend, and he was moving to New York City. He was leaving New Jersey, New York City, somewhere around there, and he'd sold his store to his brother, who also had a store, that's where I met him at, actually, was his brother's record store. And so he'd sold lock, stock, and barrel, and I went in there to talk to him one day, and he was off doing something. His wife was there, and his wife said, well, if you want anything, you know, go through the bins and take a few things, you know. He won't know. Bob won't notice. Bob was the guy that bought the store. Bob won't notice. And there was something I wanted. There was something I wanted very, very badly. It was a copy of Paul McCartney's Thrillington. Here it is on CD. An original copy of Thrillington was in their bins. But I thought it was the one album that Bob, the buyer, would notice wasn't there anymore when he gathered up all the records. So, to save them some embarrassment and pain and all of that, I didn't wind up taking it. And I've pretty much regretted it ever since, because truthfully it's the only copy I've ever seen in person. So that's the one that got away. But the happy ending is I have pre-ordered it. It's finally coming out on vinyl, and I have pre-ordered it. So I will own it, not an original, but I will own Thrillington on vinyl. So that's it. Those are my answers to your questions, Paul. Once again, congratulations. My videos are not powered by coffee, unfortunately. I love that, by the way. So, good job, Paul. Congratulations. Check out Psycho Platter, guys. Psycho Platter. Psycho's Platters. It's hard to say. Check that out, and congratulations again, Paul, and I hope this makes it up in time. Thanks for watching, Paul, and everyone else. Bye.